Anyone who actually understands how money works already knows this. If you have spent years doing what you love and yet you are not making a living, it means it is not working out for you. Just because you love doing something doesn't mean that you are good at it, you can monetize it, or there's a market for it. These people are so intimidated by the size of their own ambitions that they can't even believe that it can be achieved. People put all their eggs in one basket and then they try to jump as high as possible. It leads people to make decisions out of fear, guilt, and desperation. I'm going to tell you something that probably no one ever told you. Okay, if you're watching this, chances are you have already consumed a lot of content regarding how to follow your passion. But what I am about to explain here today, I don't see most people talk about. Because most people talk about this particular two schools of thoughts. Thought 1, dream big and don't give up until it becomes a reality. Sounds cool, right? This is the kind of a quote that people use in social media as a photo caption. Then there comes thought 2. Snap out of your fantasy and get a real job. And this one comes from your parents who are too polite to say that you're freeloading and you should be paying the rent from the next month. Now, one is about chasing your calling and one is about facing the reality. Dreams versus real life. So the question is, which one is right? Spoiler alert, both are wrong. If you have spent years doing what you love and yet you are not making a living, it means it is not working out for you. Maybe it's time to accept that love alone is not enough. Let me say something that might offend a few people. Just because you love doing something doesn't mean that you are good at it, you can monetize it, or there's a market for it. Anyone who actually understands how money works already knows this. If you want to make money out of something, you need to learn how to build a business around it. And trust me, the last part is not as easy as they make it out in the movies. So am I saying that you can't make money doing what you love? No, I'm not saying that. You absolutely can make money out of it, but only under right circumstances. And it starts with setting the goal right. While setting goals for themselves, people often take one of these two approaches, the all or nothing approach. In this approach, people put all their eggs in one basket and then they try to jump as high as possible. They think, if I give everything I have behind this one goal, it has to work, right? And unsurprisingly, the first few attempts fail. And when it does, due to their all-in approach, they lose significant resources, time, and energy. As a result, there's nothing to fall back on. No backup plan, no patience, and most importantly, no room to try again. It leads people to make decisions out of fear, guilt, and desperation instead of a composed and calculated mindset. As example, let's talk about a college student who drops out to become a movie maker. He is inspired by those self-taught art house legends. However, he lacks the basic skills like storytelling, cinematography, budgeting, editing, and networking. And he doesn't even know it. Result, he spends the next 5 years creating low quality, unstructured movies that doesn't even cover a fraction of its budget through YouTube ad revenue. Now he has nothing. No money, no certificate, no experience, no skills, and most importantly, no idea what to do next. Then there's this other approach, the boiling frog approach. In this approach, people tend to avoid taking any risks whatsoever. Instead, they settle for what appears to be the safest and easiest choice available. These people are so intimidated by the size of their own ambitions that they can't even believe that it can be achieved. So they keep hopping from one safe but small reward to another as the years pass by. And by the time they realize that they had been trading their dreams for living paycheck to paycheck, it's too late. For example, a writer jumps from gig to gig, taking whatever it pays. But in reality, she always wanted to be a mystery novel writer. But it's not easy for a newcomer to get a deal from one of the top publications. And self-publication nowadays is like singing to a void. And years later, she realizes that she is still poor And now also she is creatively drained to pursue her own dreams. So what's the solution? I'm going to tell you something that probably no one ever told you. You don't have to choose between your dreams and your survival. You can do the both at the same time. Your long-term dreams and your short-term goals don't need to fight each other. They can work together. The trick is to start with a clear, long-term and meaningful vision for your future. And then line up your day-to-day actions in a way that helps you stay afloat in the short term. And at the same time, brings you a little closer to your actual dreams every single day. For example, remember the guy who dropped out of the college to become a movie director? He could have stayed in college and worked part-time on his dreams. It could start with basic, cheap, or even free online courses. And then, after graduation, he could have taken a job in one of the studios. By doing so, he would get paid, he get to learn from the people who are actually in the business, and then he also get to create a network that will help him in the near future. And what about the woman working gig to gig as a freelance writer? She could prioritize projects that will help her build skills on plotting, dialogue, or suspense writing, like ghostwriting fiction. Or she could apply in a publication, get paid, and also gather valuable insights on how to win over an editor. At the same time, she could have blocked 5 to 10 hours a week to work on her own manuscript. A simple change in thought process, but a big impact on how you achieve your dreams without going broke. But to do so, you also need to know when to push harder and when to let go. So now that you have set your direction, it's time to run. However, this is the kind of a race where the finish line is at different distances for different people. And nobody knows what distance that is. So, it is not just about reaching there first, but it is more about making sure that you are not knocked out of the race midway. And how to do that? It's the plain old game of patience, but with a little twist. As Naval Ravikant would say, be impatient with your actions, but patient with your results. Again, don't wait for the perfect time or the motivation to hit you. Do what you can now. Take small, focused, and calculated steps. Write the pitch, shoot the first footage, send the mail, and enroll in that free course today. All these small steps build momentum and also train your mind to identify and also capitalize on opportunities that you are not actually looking for. The only way to lose here is by acting out of desperation. When you're desperate, you rush decisions, cut corners, and burn yourself out. That's why you need to understand that the result might not be instant, but it's easier said than done, right? Here's what might help. This one quote from Atomic Habits sums it up pretty well. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than your current results. When you follow a passion, you often walk into an unknown territory. There's no guaranteed paycheck, no clear promotion ladder, and no fixed timeline. And that uncertainty can be quite painful. And that's why your brain starts looking for proof that you have actually made the right decision. And when you don't get quick wins, such as likes, sales, and traffic, panic sets in. You start questioning your talent. You feel jealous or bitter when you see others succeed faster. You think about quitting, but you are too invested to just give up. If it sounds like you, maybe you have a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset makes you believe that talent is something you either have or don't. So when things don't work out, you think to yourself that maybe I'm not just good enough or lucky enough. Now the opposite of that is called growth mindset. It's a belief that skills can be developed, results can be improved, and failure is just a feedback. When you have a growth mindset, you stop fixating over quick wins. Instead, you focus on getting better a little by little, weeks after weeks. Instead of asking why this is not working yet, you ask yourself, what can I do to make it work? Psychologist Carol Dweck, who coined the term growth mindset, demonstrated this with a simple yet powerful experiment. She gave 108 students an easy puzzle to solve. Everyone managed to do quite well. But here's the truth. One group was praised for being smart and the other group was praised for putting in effort. Then she gave them a much harder puzzle. And as expected, everyone failed. At the point, they had a choice to make. Go back to the easier puzzles or try the harder ones again. The smart group mostly went back to the easy ones. The effort group, they pushed on with the harder puzzles. Why? Because if you believe that success comes from being naturally talented, failure means that you are not that talented after all. But if you believe that success comes from effort, then failure just means that you need to try again with a better approach. And that's the core difference. So, if you think that your passion is not taking you anywhere, maybe it's not simply about giving up or holding on. Maybe it is about building a system where you don't have to make that call to begin with. I'll just leave you with that. Thanks for watching.